Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about a third-party service provider. How many of you have gone, well, what's a third-party service provider? Well, they're also known as a TPSP. I want you to know this video is coming at the request of one of my friends over at EFT Bop. These are people that truly understand reporting and working with third parties, but they were quick to point out that the payments professor should put out a video on third parties because I don't have one until now. Hey everybody, I've been working on a series that is very short. It's just about third-party senders and third-party service providers. But this just in, they're not that easy. They can get quite complicated. What I've done in the following is tried to make it simpler to understand either the third-party sender or the third-party service provider. It's two different videos. So please understand that in these examples, there are other examples and there are other ways that it can work. Like for example, my third-party service provider, I show it as working with an originator, but it's also a relationship that can be directly with a financial institution. And there's a couple of terms I don't even cover, like sending point and receiving point. So please take it with a grain of salt and understand, if you're one of those professionals who gets technical about everything, that these videos are to be able to help you to get that beginning, general understanding. And if you want to further your education, the Payments Professor's got more for you in future videos. As I mentioned before in the third-party sender video, it's important in the financial industry, well, in any industry, heck, even just in life in general, that we understand what each other is saying. And when talking about third parties, it can get really confusing. I'm going to focus on what's the difference between a third-party sender and a third-party service provider. It's important to note that a third-party sender is a third-party service provider. They're one and the same. They are. A third-party service provider, TPSP, is defined as an organization other than the originator, an ODFI, or an RDFI that performs a function of ACH processing on behalf of the originator, the ODFI, or the RDFI. Okay, the difference between a third-party sender and a third-party service provider is that a relationship exists between the ODFI and the originator when the bank or credit union is working with a third-party service provider. No agreement is required between a third-party service provider and the ODFI that ultimately processes the ACH file. The origination agreement in this relationship is required to exist between the ODFI and the originator being the client of the third-party service provider. Here's an example. We have a company, Wanda's Widgets. Wanda's Widgets uses an outside party, an outside entity, PayMe Processing, to process payroll files for her employees. Wanda's Widgets sends PayMe Processing the payroll information, and PayMe Processing creates the ACH files for the payroll transactions. PayMe Processing then sends the ACH file to Wanda's Widgets. Bank A does then the processing and sends it on in the ACH network. But the origination agreement in this case lies between Wanda's Widgets and Bank A. No agreement is required between PayMe Processing and Bank A. Therefore, PayMe Processing is acting as a third-party service provider, not a third-party sender. Wait. Last week, that's very close to what you talked about last week, Professor. What do you mean? What makes that different than a third-party sender? Well, in the third-party sender situation, the third-party sender had an agreement with Bank A, and they sent files directly to the bank on behalf of Wanda's Widgets, who is their customer. And there is no agreement between Wanda's Widgets and the ODFI or Bank A in that case. In fact, Wanda's Widgets may not even know who the ODFI is or really even care, just as long as her stuff gets processed. But in the third-party service provider situation, PayMe Processing is processing a file based on the instructions given directly by Wanda's Widgets, but PayMe Processing does not have to or need to have an agreement with the ODFI. It's possible one could exist, just letting you know, but they don't have to have one in this case. They have an agreement with Wanda's Widgets to provide this service for Wanda's Widgets. And Wanda's Widgets has the agreement with the ODFI, Bank A. Surprisingly, in electronic banking, it's all about relationships and commitments or agreements. And it's not as easy as swipe left or swipe right. See, we need more on the participants and on third parties and on processors and on senders to make sure that they are held responsible. So please be on the lookout for an upcoming series from the Payments Professor. That's right, an entire series. But if there is a topic you would like to have addressed, if there's even a series you'd like to have created, remember, this one was created per request. All you have to do is message me or email me, kevin@paymentsprofessor.com. You can leave information in the comments. And if you like the video, hit the like button. Thank you for watching.